What we're going to work on today is a guided foam roll session. So this is going to work on some mobility and loosening up some muscles. So what you're going to need is your foam roller and a little bit of space on the floor. We're going to take that and first take a seat on the foam roller and then roll your way down so it's kind of on your mid to upper back area. And we're going to start with a little bit of thoracic mobilization. So thinking about supporting your head with your hands and just first kind of letting your back drape over there, butt as close to the ground as you can make it, maybe even just resting on the ground, and then head as close to the ground as you can get it. And we're just reaching back, arching our back, take a deep breath, and then slowly exhale, and then you can come off of that a little bit. We're going to go back and forth a few times. If you get a few pops or clicks, those feel pretty nice usually. And then after we've done that a couple times, we're going to start to just roll up and down our back to tolerance here. And again, while you're doing this, you're thinking about doing that kind of reverse arching of your back, putting good pressure on the thoracic spine. We want to keep it basically from our upper back, so off of our neck, and then as far down as our lower ribs. We want to stay off the low back for now and just going back and forth. We're going to do this about maybe 5 or so times. And then we're going to slide that down just a little bit further, again staying on the part of your back where you have ribs. And then we're just going to do a couple more of those, reaching back and then coming up. We're kind of arching our back again. And if you find a spot you feel like you need to work into extra, feel free to adjust there. Another thing you can add in, which feels nice sometimes, is just a little bit of gentle rotation throughout that stretch. So just tilting to one side, tilting to the other side. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to keep our head supported, but we're going to shift to our side a little bit. And now the goal is to work into the shoulder. So we're going to be working kind of the back, our lat, our shoulder attachments here in the armpit area, and then even the back of the arm a little bit. So we're going to support our head with our hands like we were doing. I like to put my top leg kind of foot on the ground so I can use that as a way to push and pull myself. And then my other leg's just kind of resting here. And then I'm just taking that again to tolerance. So if I find any spots that are super uncomfortable, maybe backing off a little or hanging out there for a second, taking a few breaths. We can kind of roll on and off those spots, forward and back. There's no real wrong way to do this unless you're being super aggressive. This is not about being aggressive. This is about finding kind of gentle pieces to work through the mobility, work through some of that discomfort. So we're going to do the same thing now, flipping it to the other side. You can just roll over and face the other way. I'll flip it here so I can continue to face you. And again, we're going to support our head with our arm, getting into that armpit area, into those lat, shoulder, tricep attachments in the back. And again, you might find some spots that are more uncomfortable than others. And that's where we want to kind of work those, hang out in those spots, come off and on. Couple more movements. Okay, so next we're going to shift to our low back. So we're going to take this foam roller and we're going to start in that same mid-back area that we were just at. But now we're going to, let me say that differently. We're going to sit up, put your hands behind you so you can support yourself. You're gonna sit on the foam roller a little bit here, and then we're gonna start to just work that up and down. So you're kind of on the top back of your glutes here, as well as your low back where that kind of ties together. And we're just going to rock back and forth. Again, find some spots that are uncomfortable, hang out there. You can roll side to side. You can do this up and down, rock and rolling position. Find the stuff that feels funky and kind of work on that. Flip to the other side. Same thing on the other side here. And then let's go further up. So now we're more on the low back specifically. And again, use your arms to support you and push your feet off the ground, or push your butt off the ground using your feet as a way to take some of that pressure off if it's too much on your low back. Okay, now we're going to shift to the glutes. So we're going to work that foam roll down our body a little more. Now we're basically just sitting on it, doing the same thing. Again, kind of rocking our legs side to side. This is going to expose different parts of the glute muscle. And really there's different glute muscles as well. So this is going to expose all of that, and you can find spots that are sore and uncomfortable and work those. Rock it forward and back, side to side, all that stuff. We're kind of doing a self-massage here. And generally speaking, I would try to hang out depending on how much time you have. Minimally, I would say about 30 seconds in each area, upwards to maybe like shoot for a minute and a half or so, which is kind of more ideal. I think you get a chance to kind of spread some of that tension out in the muscles. So we're going to switch now a little lower into the hamstrings. So this is the back portion of the upper leg. So starting at the top of your glutes all the way to the back of your knee, we're just going to start to work those. And now with this one, just like we've been doing with the other body parts, we're just kind of rocking, moving our legs side to side to expose different parts of the muscle and find the spots that are sore. And just keep working that. If this is like no big deal for you and there's nothing that feels sore, you can increase the intensity a bit. And how you would do that on this version is crossing one leg over and just putting all that pressure now on that single leg. So for me, all the pressure's on my right hamstring right now, which definitely feels a lot more tender when I do it that way. And then if I want to switch, I would do the same thing. Put my left leg down and then kind of cross over here. So I can you don't have to cross in that particular way. You can cross however it feels comfortable, but it's just putting the pressure on the opposite leg here. So we'll go a few more times with that, and then we're gonna work our way down even further into the calf muscles. So now I'm gonna roll that foam roller further down, work my calves. Same kind of rules apply. If you haven't done this before, you might be surprised at how tender your calves can be. Mine tend to be walking around, they feel fine, and then when I do this, they feel pretty tender. So that might be your circumstance as well. If you're doing this and you're like, wow, this feels like no big deal, I don't have any sore spots, this pressure is pretty minimal, then what you can do is just what I demoed with the other part, and you can stack it up. For me, it's a little bit almost hard to demonstrate because of how tender my legs are. So, but if you are making this look easy, feel free to challenge that pressure a little bit there too. And again, we're trying to expose all the different pieces of the muscle, all the different attachment points and all this stuff so we can find where we're sore and hopefully work some of that out as well. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to flip on over and we're going to do our quads here. So this is going to be the front of our upper legs. And what I like to do with this one is go into almost like a modified plank position or on my forearms. And then I just kind of work it down into the thighs, into the quads, forward and back, just like we've done in all the other variations. We can kind of roll it side to side. Just like I was mentioning for the calves, This one can be one that kind of sneaks up on you as a surprisingly sore one if you don't do stuff like this regularly, get massages or mobilize your soft tissue. So if you're doing this and you all of a sudden hit a spot that feels like a bruise or really, really sore tender, don't be too surprised, but feel free to back off by pushing more pressure off your arms, or maybe even putting your toes down a little bit and keeping some pressure off the foam roller like that. Those are options. If the opposite is true for you, where you do not feel sore at all and this feels pretty easy, you can do just like we've done on the other ones and put all the pressure on the one leg. For me, I'm pretty sore, so I'm not going to do much of that, but that as well as an option. So we're going to do about another 30 seconds here. Make sure you're breathing while you're doing this. Try not to hold your breath or keep tension everywhere. We want to stay fairly relaxed as we're working this out. And you can work your way off that foam roller here. And that's all we're going to do for today. Good job. There's no limit to where you can do this or how long. I would say just spread the love around the body like we did, set a timer, and then try to shoot for 30 seconds to maybe a minute and a half per body part, and just work your way through it. All right, good work.